Hello everyone, welcome to Premium Museum. Today I'll be showcasing a deck of my personal creation, Hanzo. Hanzo is a deck that revolves around creating evil decoy tokens, which which they cannot boost. However, they have intercept, can intercept from the back row, and they have 5k shield. Hanzo uses these tokens either for offensive pressure or defensive usage. Our main vanguard is Akatsuki Hanzo. He doesn't do much unless we fail to stride, in which case we can retire two of the tokens to give him plus 20k and also potentially hand rip the opponent. The main guy, the main reason why we're using Hanzo is so that we can activate Tasugar Hanzo, which allows us to give all of our tokens plus 10k shield, allowing them to be a big defensive buff, as well as while he's at the soul, he can retire a token to call himself out as a 20k beater. This forms a nice loop where we're constantly rewriting grade 3s and generating protect markers. And normally you would go protect 1, though there are some matchups where you might want to go protect 2 for the raw shield value. The last part of our defensive combo is Gyo-Gusan, whose ability allows it that whenever we rewrite a grade 3, we can count +1 to add this card back to our hand, effectively forming a nice defensive loop where we write Tassel Guard, give all of our tokens plus 10k, sorry, not plus 10k, plus 5k shields so that they then become 10k intercepts. And then we also have Gyo-Gusan, which we can recycle for more 10k shield. So, and so with that plus all the protect markers we're making, we can mm, save a lot of our hand just from using them as shield and using to protect as well a PG. For Regalis, we're running fire because of the heavy discard cost of Tassagar. Uh, for our grade 2s, we are running our, I'm forgetting the name. I believe, no, it's not right jumper. Anyway, we're running Sengeki, whose skill allows us to increase the consistency of finding our grade 1s and grade 2s in the early game. We're also running the grade 2 Search Doji as a strong grade 2 ride that could also potentially get Tassagar into the soul. The main grade 2 we want to find is Kageyugachi, which is what allows us to generate our evil decoy tokens. For grade 1s, we're running the V Stradfather to help us search for our grade 3s. We're running Gyokusen as previously mentioned. We're also running 4 Yunen, which can help us find any other grade 3s that we're missing. For example, if we have Tassagar in hand but we don't have the base Hanzo, you can write Yunen, reveal Tassagar, and then search for the Hanzo. You can also use this effect to reveal a normal and then just add a heal guard to hand. We're obviously running Elementaria, and then lastly we're running the G guard promo, whose ability is that you can remove a heal from drop and it gets plus 10k shield for every 2 cards in your opponent's hand. Effectively being a lot more shield than this already defensive deck. For our triggers, we're running 4 draw kits, 4 heal guards, drag beta, 4 strike crits, and then 3 draw PGs. For our G zone, we are running Yatsuka Lord and Muchio Goku. These are fine strides to go into if you're going first, though Dagoku doesn't. Sorry, not going first. These are fine strides to go into when going second on your first stride. However, Dagoku only works if your opponent is running the stride line where they ride uh, the G strider and then stride into the errata on hit strides. Yatsuka Lord in testing has almost never worked well for me. However, it's the best way to describe it is that it's the third best first stride card in the G zone. And you only go into it for some reason you can't if for some reason you can't go into that Goku, and we can't go into our more preferred stride, Jakumeso. Or Jakumeso can retire the tokens we generate to draw two cards, fueling our draw power, and also bounce and recall a board to hand, and gain power and a crit on top of that. It's effectively how we stay in this game for as long as we can. We're running one Bakiro for the potential board rep, four Rin to help close out the game, and additionally we're running base Mugen Lord for a potential dominate 5 into the face. And for our G cores, we're running two Mori Lord, which is a G card can get very big very fast, depending on the opponent's hand. And we're also running Gangoku Aken as a free 30k shield. And then lastly, obviously harmonics. So with that, let's go into a game. Uh, Sorry, let's go into a game that I've recorded. Alright, here we're up against Victor, and it seems like we win. So they lost the coin toss, so we get to choose. We get to go second. Our hands looking a bit weak considering that we don't have the base Hanzo, although we thankfully top deck into it. So now we ride to gate 1, generate our quick tickets, just then head on swinging. Yep. They ride Sanzanda, uh, and it's just and also just start swinging. Thankfully, they don't check a crit or any triggers for that matter. Here, yeah, I believe instead of using this fact, I just ride uh the ride up. I swing veer so as to not give them counter blast in case they go for their stride up. Though it seems like they did have a grade 3 in hand anyway. They decide to search V Victor in this wing. Here I'm debating whether or not to take the damage, but considering the amount of multi-attack they do, I'd want to stay on low damage for as long as possible. Here, unfortunately, we do really want to be able to stride as soon as we ride to grade 3. So here we pass up on riding and use Sengeki to hand rip them for 1. We also thankfully find our second Kagerugachi so that we can immediately stride into Jackie Missile. Here, divide V Victor, find Sanzanda from the top 7. Yeah, it looks like they just start swinging. Here are no guard, the unfortunately check a crit and a heal. No, though I do check a draws PG. I do check a draw as well. And then guard. Here I probably could have used the guardian ticket, but it's alright. Here I activate Gyokusen, add it back to hand. Discard. Dry document, so create my tokens. Here I use, yeah, I believe I use Kaigurachi so that I can give my tokens boost and plus 5k. So now I can swing into Sanzanza uh, with which puts them in an awkward situation of having to use a 10k shield to guard it. And then activate Jockey Meso, bounce my entire board, alright, and then call Kagurachi and Unen. Here I check a crit as well, so now they go to 3 damage, though unfortunately I don't have enough power to push any further. Here I then activate Tassagar, or discarding a Protect, because we already have Elementaria in hand, and also Fire Regalis. I probably could have saved Fire Regalis for next turn stride, instead discard Gyokusen to then add it back to hand. Either way, they now have Strode Bustard. They use Angel Ladder, not that it matters because we don't have any removal. They start swinging. I think here I'm doing some guarding math. Yeah, I decided to end up with Kagurachi. They use Goshashi to stand Dosludge. Dosludge gets power, and then Bustard will get +1 drive. My god, they use the second Goshashi again, and to get Bustard another drive. They then choose to swing with Bustard, and yeah, I believe I just GG. Somehow checking no triggers in 5 checks, and passing up on resetting Bustard. Yeah, just simply take it because it's not that threatening. And then right back into base form. End up discarding the Sparkus to go back into Giacomesso. I believe here I was thinking about what board I wanted. And end up calling Gyokisen and to make additional tokens. I decided not to Soul Blast 1 to have the tokens get boosts, and instead swing into the Restain Leaders. And then use Giacomesso, we draw 2, we draw into crits, but at least it's more shield. I used Gyokusen and to make more evil decoy tokens, and then activate Tassagar and Soul to call out as like a shield. I check a heal, which I give to Tasugar, and then do another heal, which I give to the Great Team. Now I swing into Dull Sludge, hoping because I don't want to give them too much CB to continue their combos. Here the Dismal to protect Ghost Sludge, and I believe I just decide to pass after this. And then right back into Kassagar, getting the Gyoku-sen back. They ride into Zubat, and then go into another Buster. No, they activate Zubat to draw a call, and then give the skill to Bustard. They then called double Spiral Breaker so that they can mm, withstand Dual Sledge. And then start swinging. With because the tokens are 10k shield, I can easily guard both of these attacks. Yeah, guard with the draw kit. Alright, guard with the token. Swing Gold Sludge again. I believe I G guard, though preferably I should have saved it potentially for Gold Sludge. They they used the ability that Zubat gave it to stand Gold Sludge, and in order to get up to 6 drives, where I just simply PG, check the crits, another crit, and then Aldo. Though, because of us being able to loop PGs, we were able to, yeah, we were able to hold on to our Elementaria. Here I decided to just take, because what harm could come, and then I end up defensive OTing, so I didn't even have to use Elementaria in the end. Alright, back in the base, add back Gyoku-sen. I believe discard the strike crit here. Yeah, and then, or I was just trying to decide what exactly to stride into, because I've used up my Jacumiso, and they have a big hand, so Rin is going to do much. So in the end, I decided to go into Mukuro. Celeste 2, though I end up Celesting Tazagar. But at the very least, again, get some additional draft checks. Unfortunately, they weren't anything good. I swing Here, the G guard. Alright, and then guard for 3. Unfortunately, just like Victor, 5 drives, no triggers. Here I'm just thinking about attack order because I want to use Yunnan to bounce my field. Yeah, put Doji in, bounce Kisan skill, make more tokens. And pass turn. And ride into my third uh, Tassagar. And here at this point I realized that they only have 3 cards left in deck with barely anything to call aboard. I don't think this main strategy could have gone into that needs to attack. That needs to attack to get this effect. Yeah, and the GBA also needs to attack. So I believe that any strike they went into, they wouldn't be able to use that strike's ability potentially. Here what they call out what meager board they can. They use Gosashi to be able to stand Gun Zone so I could get a bunch of power. Though ultimately it can't really do much with the amount of shield that we have just on board. You can even just safely take it. And here they decide to go out with style and swing with their Vanguard. And that's the game. Alright. So I was just saw in the game, Hanzo was able to deal a lot with the many pokes Victor was doing, like the constant uh go dole sludge pokes. Also was able to keep up with the spiral breaker pokes that we were able to use the token. And then overall, I feel like it was a nice showcase for its defensive for Hanzo's defensive prowess. Yes. However, one issue that this deck does have is sometimes it can struggle to kill the game. It's nice that you have a lot of defense. However, you aren't really pushing for strong numbers. And Jacumetsu obviously puts on a lot of pressure and can potentially push the opponent to high damage. However, you're very reliant on Rin actually being able to do anything. And because our only threat is really Jacumetsu and maybe Tessa Gar wants to check a crit trigger on him, your opponent can easily save up their hand so that Rin isn't too much of a threat. They could potentially save, like if it's a protect deck, they could potentially save their protects for one Rin, and then the second Rin would mostly have just been used to push damage onto them. And overall, I really do don't like this deck. I like how it plays and how defensive it can be. There's definitely improvements to be made, but overall, I hope you enjoyed this showcase of Hanzo. Thank you for coming to the exhibit. Have a nice day.